Welcome back to our study in Revelation. Say, have you ever been confused when reading the book of Revelation? Well, don't feel bad because that describes most of us. And I believe that one of the main reasons that people are confused is they do not understand the structure. They've been taught that Revelation is a sequence, a linear sequence of events, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Well, today we're going to answer the question, is Revelation a linear sequence of events? Hello, my name is Jim Warner, and the goal of our Blessed Hope Ministries is to help you read, understand, and apply the book of Revelation in your life today, to give you hope and to encourage you, and to help you understand that your eternal destiny is based on your relationship with Jesus Christ. So in this video, we're going to look at the structure of Revelation. And I encourage you to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you'll be informed when future videos are released. Now in the West, we are used to linear documents. Like I said before, they have a beginning, a middle, and an end. This is true with novels and even non-fiction literature. Well, in the East, they don't have this problem. They're used to other structures, other forms of literature. And so I don't believe that Revelation is a linear sequence of events. I don't think that makes sense. I believe that John received the visions in Revelation at 4 different locations. And in many cases, these visions are parallel with one another. Well, so the question is, in ancient literature, how did they organize their documents? I believe they used repeated words and phrases. So in ancient literature, there were not chapters as we know them or tables of contents. They instead used these repeated words and phrases. Now we see these in Revelation. I believe that Revelation was received at 4 locations. The first one was in Revelation chapter 1. The second one, Revelation 4. The third, Revelation 17. And the fourth, Revelation 21. Now, there are clear markers at the beginning of each of these sections to indicate that we are entering a new section of Revelation. Let's take a look at an example. The phrase, "in the Spirit," is used. You'll see that over and over in each location. There's a command to come someplace, except in location 1 because he was already on the island of Patmos where he received the visions at the first location. In locations 2, 3, and 4, he was invited to come someplace. Then there was the location where he was going to receive the visions. There was an identity of the one who was speaking to him, and there was a description of the content of the visions that he was going to receive. So let's take a look at an example. This is the beginning of vision location 2 found in Revelation 4 verses 1 and 2. It says, "After this I looked, and behold, a door standing open in heaven. And the first voice which I had heard speaking to me like a trumpet said, 'Come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this.' At once I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne stood in heaven, with one seated on the throne." So that's the beginning of vision location 2. So here we see a repeated phrase, "I was in the Spirit," which in literature of this day meant that they were going to receive a vision. Then he was invited to come someplace, except for vision location 1. So here in 2, also in 3 and 4, he's invited to come someplace. Where was he going for vision location 2? There was a door standing open in heaven. And when he went through that door, he was in heaven standing before the throne. And then the voice of the one speaking. Here it says, "the first voice which I heard speaking to me." Well, if you go back to vision location 1, we learn that that voice was Jesus Christ. So Jesus delivered the visions for location 1 and 2. And for 3 and 4, we discovered that it was an angel. And finally, the content of the visions at this location, "I will show you what must take place after this." So here are the 4 locations in Revelation. On the island of Patmos, where he received the vision of the glorified Jesus and the letters to the 7 churches. And then, starting with chapter 4, we have vision location 2, which we just looked at. He receives 2 major visions. One is the scroll sealed with 7 seals and the trumpets, which describe the wrath of God. And the second is a kingdom battle. It's the 3 signs in heaven, which describe the conflict between God and Satan, and gives us a lot of information about the Antichrist. And it ends with the bowls, which is also the wrath of God. Then the 3rd location is in the wilderness, where John receives visions of the destiny of God's enemies. They're all destroyed. And the 4th is on a mountaintop, where John receives the glorious vision of what's in store for those of us who follow Jesus Christ. Now, if we put those visions on a timeline, they look something like this. The first vision location really isn't on the timeline, so I put it in this cloud. It's on the island of Patmos, which again was the vision of Jesus and the letters to the 7 churches. And then the vision location 2 are future events. The seals and the trumpets are parallel with the same time period and the same content of the second vision received at the second location. And so they occur pretty much during the last 7 years before the return of Christ and just following the return, where God pours out his wrath. The 3rd location is in the wilderness, and it starts at the midpoint of the 7 years, where Babylon is destroyed and goes all the way to the end. And then the 4th location starts just after his coming, where we are in heaven, and it describes the destiny of God's people. And so that's kind of what it looks like. So you can see that a linear interpretation of Revelation would be very confusing if indeed what I am teaching you is true. Now, there's a wonderful verse in the 1st chapter. It's verse 7, and it really summarizes what's going on in Revelation. It says, "Behold, he is coming with the clouds," and that's Jesus Christ, "and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him, and all the tribes of the earth will wail on account of him. Even so, amen." And so he's coming to take us home, and he's coming to pour out his wrath on the unbelieving world. Well, on the final slide, I've given you 2 ways to contact me, by email or by going to our website, and I encourage you to do that. I would love to hear from you. There's also a QR code that you can use to order my book, Our Blessed Hope, on Amazon, and I would encourage you to do that. And if you do, let me know what you think. So, God bless you as you study this great book of the Bible. I look forward to going on this journey with you. And until then, keep your mind fixed on things above.